Yes, enough's enough.
We got some interesting things to read, and
Charmella's going to come up and do some
rap poetry skits, but
we'll start off with a poem,
and then I'm going to read an article.
This poem's called The Journey Within.
Dream, think, and discover, and the secrets of life you'll uncover. The mind in your chest will show you what's next on a journey that's like no other. Okay. This is an article by Lance Schuttler from in5d.com. The victory drums to the tune of Maurice Rivero's Bolero are now commencing with the crescendo as this writing goes to press. Everywhere in our world we are now seeing the awakening of humanity speed up. We are seeing massive rallies against corruption and rallies for peace spread. We are seeing tyranny, cover-ups, and false flags exposed. And more importantly, we are seeing movements converging that offer solutions to these issues the world faces. Since the Occupy Wall Street...
Hang on. Sorry about that.
More lockjaw. Since the Occupy Wall Street protests in late 2011, the world has seen continued cries for justice, peace, and equality. We have seen continued protests against Monsanto in the past several years, as well as the hacker group Anonymous rallies for justice, transparency, and peace. In 2012, it was synchronized anti-austerity protests throughout all of Europe. In 2013, it was in the form of millions taking the streets in Brazil. Also in 2013, we saw over 8 million flood the streets of Cairo, Egypt, as the military supported the people's birthright to freedom by removing the corrupt regime. In 2014, in Catalonia, Spain, we saw... Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. We started reading this already last week, so I'm going to start from there. This inner drive for every single one of us to feel and be free in every way is causing the conditioned past to be transcended, and is creating a convergence of hearts, minds, projects, ideas, and visions now manifesting for the highest good of all. Fortunately, we are not alone in this endeavor of creating inner and outer freedom. Something big and positive is happening. Over the past 3 years on Earth, we have been experiencing increased solar activity, with an increased number of coronal mass ejections, CMEs, being received by our Earth's magnetic field. CMEs are explosions of electricity and energy in the form of electrons and protons, according to NASA. This ejected, self-organizing, and coherent plasma usually takes between 3 to 4 days to reach our Earth's magnetosphere, which, if large enough, can create disturbances in radio signals and navigation systems. Interestingly, the CMEs also affect humans down to the level of our DNA. In 1984 to 1985, Dr. Peter Garyaev and his team of Russian linguists were studying DNA and the ways light, sound, and frequencies interact with DNA. Their research led to many groundbreaking and paradigm-shifting discoveries, with one of them showing that DNA is able to absorb and emit light photons, which spirals along the double helix in sacred geometrical form. They found that the DNA has properties of scalar torsion field, which is a self-sustaining vortex in the aether time-space, which is innately non-electromagnetic. By spinning, a vortex can excite photons or pull virtual photons out of the fabric of space aether, and static torsion scalar fields can harness and store light within them. Literally, DNA creates magnetized wormholes in the time-space fabric. DNA acts as tunnel connections between entirely different areas in the universe, through which information can be transmitted outside of space and time. The DNA attracts these bits of photons and passes them to our consciousness. They found that with the presence of light, photons, DNA activation, and thus evolution can occur. New neural pathways can be created. Our thought patterns can be reshaped to ways that better serve us. We can change how we deal with the situation. We can change who we are. With the presence of photons always amidst us via our sun, our DNA is constantly pulling in this light and continuing to change and evolve. We can think of a solar flare as a boost of light from our sun. This extra light equates to a higher upgrade in the evolution of our DNA and thus who we are. In fact, pioneering physicist Nassim Haramehn's holographic universe theory says that the fundamental structure and dynamics of space-time are those of the black hole. In this view, any change to a part in effect changes the whole. This is true of any hologram. Every part contains the whole, and when something changes in a part of the object, the whole object changes as well. So we see that every time someone in our world thinks, does, or says something to improve themselves, a situation or another, the entirety of humanity benefits. We upgrade, we shift, we evolve. We also see that with the help from our sun, our DNA and our consciousness is continuing to shift to higher octaves. And as our DNA continues to shift, the entire human race is impacted and benefited. In other words, the deck is stacked in favor of humanity to continue growing and changing in ways that serve the whole. Peaceful revolution of the systems that suppress and no longer serve humanity is inevitable. Where are these things being reflected in our outer world, some might ask? Are there those in the know taking this revolution? The answer is an unshakable yes. A notable figure is Benjamin Fulford. Benjamin is the former Asia-Pacific bureau chief for Forbes magazine and has over 20 years of experience as a profound writer and journalist, along with several other accolades. He resigned from his position in 2005 as he was disturbed by the corporate censorship and has for the past few years been writing a weekly geopolitical article, which has importantly been discussing the positive developments in our growing BRICS, Brazil, India, China, and South Africa alliance, which has now reported swelled to over 190 countries with governmental, banking, and military influence. On July 18, 2014, the same day as Contingent Reserve Arrangement and BRICS Development Bank were announced that implemented, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said, "The BRICS is an alliance that will reform the international financial system. Many economists believe this alliance because of the amount of gold and silver several of the countries have been implementing are planning to reset the global financial system, which would be based on gold, silver, and other metals and resources, something John Kennedy was reportedly very close to initiating with President Sukarno of Indonesia via the global collateral accounts. It's believed that in time, this reset will allow our world's entire social-economic system to shift into a resource-based economy, a term coined by social engineer Jacques Fresco of the Venus Project. In this revolutionary yet very practical system, technologies will be implemented that help improve the quality of life for every person on our planet by allowing food, shelter, clothing, and social activities to be met necessities. This will also shift our world away from oil and other destructive energy practices and will help transform the health of our Earth. Creating the world we want. As famous author, speaker, and physicist Gray Braden has said, our beliefs have the power to change the flow of events in the universe, literally to interrupt and redirect time, matter, and space, and then events that occur within them. We have the power to change our world, and we are receiving help from many known and quiet sources. The change can begin with a thought, can follow with an action. Inspire someone. Eat more organic fruits and vegetables and less meat and dairy. Soak up the sunlight as much as possible. Spark a movement. Transform negative thoughts into positive ones. Use words carefully and specifically. Plant a garden. Participate in synchronized global meditations for peace every Saturday at 6 a.m. Eastern Time or every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Above all, dream big and continue to be you. Continue visualizing and feeling the changes you want in your personal life as well as for our world. We each have a vital role to play in the creation of a better world. The only thing that is certain is change. With this worldview and universal truth in mind, peaceful revolution is truly inevitable.